Wow, 77 times Kaine interrupted, 58 Pence interrupted. Did we hear enough policy through all of that, or were the VPs just too busy playing defense? Here to weigh in is Marcy Steck. She's the VP of Communications for Democratic Group and Emily's List, versus Ron Meyer, who's editor of Red Alert Politics. Thank you both for joining us.
Great to be here.
Ron, I'll start with you. Were they able to get policy through all of that, all of the interruptions that were going on?
I will say to some extent yes, but overall no. I mean, the problem is that Tim Kaine, the best thing I could say is that he was an unhappy warrior, it seemed like. The best analogy I've been able to come up with is that it almost seemed like Hillary Clinton had dropped a tack into his shoe, and he was just a little bit grumpy the entire debate. And it was mostly focused on these prepackaged insults instead of getting into policy. I think Mike Pence did a really good job trying to pivot from playing defense into laying out the positive agenda, but it was tough. I will say this. The one thing the moderator did right, I think overall it was a pretty poor job, but one thing she did right was ask about Social Security and the debt. And I think both candidates sort of missed an opportunity to go into the substance of their plans and instead went back on sort of going the tit-for-tat insults. So we could have elevated the discussion a little bit more. I do think Mike Pence did a better job getting into the policy details, especially on foreign policy, than did Tim Kaine.
Yeah, they were able to talk about some social issues as well. So, Marcy, what do you think? Were they able to get enough information and facts and policy through?
Look, I think it was an interesting conversation. I think anyone who was watching saw a lot of energy and a lot of spirited back and forth on the issues, and yes, on the style and personalities in this campaign right now. I think that Governor Pence is losing this debate because he spent way more time talking about that tone and tenor than he did actual policy, and he missed some opportunities there. And in fact, when he did talk about policy or on the record, he oftentimes contradicted Donald Trump. I think that is a very important point here, and I think that's one that the American people are seeing as we replay these clips, as we see these fact checks come out. Mike Pence and Donald Trump just aren't on the same page.
But Marcy, you cannot deny that at every turn it seemed like that he had been told to bring up the tax returns, no matter what it had to do with Aleppo, Russia. We've been talking about this, even 9/11. Was that a wise move, or does it make Clinton's campaign look desperate?
No, I think that is exactly what the American people want to know right now is why does Donald Trump and Governor Pence, why do they believe that we should be protecting a tax system that only rewards millionaires and billionaires? Donald Trump very well could not have spent a single dime paying federal income taxes for over 18 years. For all we know, that's the case.
But we don't know if that is the case.
His campaign has yet to deny that.
Yeah, we don't know if that is the case.
Well, his campaign has yet to deny that. In fact, they've called him a genius for using that system and for doing this.
But some of
now, there is one candidate, one ticket who believes that we need to change the system, and that's Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine.
I don't want to do the same thing and interrupt you. So, Ron, what do you think about that? These are some of the same loopholes that Hillary Clinton as well used in terms of a $700,000 loss that she reported, so it wasn't as large. But in terms of foreign policy, let's talk about immigration. Which camp was able to get their information and their facts through the best, do you think?
Well, I think that, there's a huge dichotomy there between the two candidates, and both candidates, I think, got their points out on those issues. That was one of the areas where they got into substance about what each of them wanted to do, and it was a productive conversation for whichever side you are, however it motivates you. The interesting thing, though, throughout the whole debate beyond immigration was that, and I think that what just happened is a great example, is that right now the Clinton campaign and the operatives that are supporting it always are trying to pivot from the policy to personal attacks. And what Mike Pence did last night was pivot away from the personal attacks to policy. And that's, if Trump wants to win, that's what his campaign has to do, is pivot away from debating the personal issues and get into debating the policy about how they're going to make Americans' lives better on a day-to-day basis. If they can do that, they can have a chance in this race. And let the Democrats, let the liberals go out there and say, you know what, we're not going to talk about policy. We're going to pivot to his personal taxes or his personal this or his personal that, what he said here, what he said there. That's not what affects people's day-to-day lives. That's not what affects them getting to work and paying their bills. Yeah, we'll see if this is a sign of things to come for the next presidential debate on Sunday. Marcy and Ron, thank you both for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.